Well, welcome to Unscripted Conversations with Coach Jackie
Hello.
and Coach Shalonda. So, dive deep with us today, you guys, as we navigate and discuss the journey of life, personal growth, and the pursuit of clarity and purpose. From mindset to entrepreneurship and literally everything in between. Y'all, we discuss everything openly, honestly, candidly, and unscripted. So, join us. Get ready to challenge, reflect, and grow. So here we are with another episode. Coach Jackie, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right today.
Good.
It's a little, I can explain it. It was so sunny yesterday, a little
Hmm.
dreary today. But the fall season is upon us.
Yes, it is.
So and I don't know if fall looks different in Indiana than it does in Virginia, but in Indiana, people love fall.
Mhm.
It's and most people love fall. It's beautiful. The trees turn different colors, and for me, um, the way I'm set up, I'm like, fall confuses me because one minute in the morning it's freezing cold and I'm like wrapped in a blanket and have on boots. And then I will come out of work and have need of flip flops and shorts because it's 75, 80 degrees now. But when I left, it was 40 degrees. And it's just so drastic that it's hard for me to enjoy it. Like I love the trees and they are pretty. And I love
Mhm.
when the temperature is like 75, right at,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
sometimes it's hard for me. So what is fall like
Mhm.
in Virginia?
It doesn't sound like it's that different. It was this morning when we left out, it was cool. It's supposed to be in the 60s, but when we were coming home, it said, well, it seems a little bit warmer. Everybody ready to take off our coats and jackets or whatever. It probably maybe got mid 70s. So the fall here can be tricky.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be cool, sometimes it could be in the mid to middle 70s, even sometimes in the winter months we could be in the 70s. At least these past few winters we
Yeah.
have been in the 70s sometimes, and we haven't even gotten much snow. I shouldn't say that. Oh, Jesus. I don't want any, but we haven't even gotten that much snow the
Do y'all
past
get
few
much
winters.
snow in Virginia?
Not these past few winters, we haven't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I'm
grateful for
in the
that.
Midwest, so
We
and
get
I
a
will
lot of
find it.
snow.
We do, but the past few winters, it's been very easy on us.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's almost scary.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, and we thought you all that we could kind of talk about. We were just talking, and we're like, it's fall. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about seasons and how do you navigate when seasons change? Because
Mm-hmm.
for some people, it works really well. They're ready for the change, and for other people, it could take you out. I personally love summer. Now, I don't like when it's 90 degrees necessarily, but I just love summer because if you want to go to the pool, you cooking out, you sitting up. Like I just love summer. It's something about it that is relaxing to
Mm-hmm.
me. It's you think of vacationing in the summer and all these things. So it's like a relaxing mindset for me. And now that the seasons have changed, I start to get a little stressed because I can't even focus on fall because I know what's coming after fall, which is winter. And sometimes we don't even enjoy the moment or focus on what's going on right in front of us because we're
Wow.
too busy worried about what's coming next.
That's
And
really good.
I don't know about you, but well, what is your favorite season? Let's start there.
Like spring. I really do.
Really?
I like spring because the flowers are blossoming. There's lots of color during that time of year as well. The leaves are changing from the fall leaves more to spring like colors and things of that nature. I enjoy the summer. And if I'm going to connect it to life, it's an opportunity for things to begin to bloom. You may have been dealing with some stuff, during the winter months, and it's just an opportunity for things to just, oh wow, my season about to change. Things are about to open up and blossom in our lives.
Wow, that is so good because I was just thinking how the leaves they turn orange and red and purple
Mm-hmm.
here, and
Mm-hmm.
people drive all over from the country to come.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I have a best friend who lives in Florida, and they don't get fall. So when the season changes for us, it doesn't really change for them too much, but
Mm-hmm.
they like to travel this way to see the trees because they have palm trees.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a place called Brown County.
Mm-hmm.
And people come all from all over to Brown County to go to the National State Park to see the leaves. And
Wow.
I'm like, those are beautiful, but a couple months after that, there's not a single leaf in sight. I mean, the trees are bare. It is cold, it is brutal, there's no leaves, and people even go into depression. That's a
Mhm.
real thing.
Yeah, yeah.
In the winter months, people go into a depression.
Mhm.
There's days where there's
Mhm.
no sun, and it could be day
Mhm.
after day after day, and that can really
Mhm.
send people into a state of depression. And I deal with that
Absolutely.
in therapy with people. Sometimes they're like, it's just even rain can do that
Mhm.
sometimes. And I have a
Yes.
friend who hates the spring because it
Mhm.
rains too much. And so it's so interesting that you put a different twist on it, but it's the
Mhm.
season of blooming and we get to see
Mhm.
things come back to life that were dead.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
talk about anything in your life where you had to kind of navigate some difficult seasons, and how did you do that while you were waiting for the spring to come forth?
Wow. I would say I'm probably in that season as we speak. If I could be transparent, about 2 years ago, I decided to embark on becoming an entrepreneur. So I'm definitely in the growing season of all of that. I'm in the season of, waiting for things to bloom and blossom and, just seeing the progression of it all,
Mhm.
starting out overcoming the fear and doubt of, can I do this? Thinking, am I too old to even begin to make this shift in my life? And, so many things are happening. I'm really excited about it. I'm
Mhm.
excited about what we're doing here, encouraging, other individuals in reference to life and all sorts of things. So I would say this is a season right now where I'm in where things are changing and I'm taking risks. I'm coming out of my comfort zone. I'm stretching. Being in front of this camera is a stretch,
Mhm.
putting content on social media is a stretch. I prefer to put things out there and not show my face, and my face has been on there quite a bit,
Mhm.
so I'm enjoying it though. I'm enjoying it.
Can
It's
we
a good.
shout out Coach Jackie? Can we shout her out, y'all? She's stepping out of her comfort zone and she's showing us that if she could do it, we could do it,
Yes,
even if it's a
absolutely.
stretching season. And thank you for your vulnerability and your honesty.
Absolutely.
And I see it. I see you stretching. I see you springing forward with some things. So
That
I
is
can't wait
mutual.
to see what God is going to
Mhm.
do. And you talked about entrepreneurship, and we're both
Mhm.
kind of in that space. And sometimes people think, oh, you're an entrepreneur. You got to no, this is a very tricky space to maneuver. It's
Mhm.
scary, especially if you depend on it financially for your income.
Mhm.
And you have seasons, and there's
Absolutely.
lows. And what I've been in a difficult season right at a year now with a business. And I'm like, okay, Lord, when is this season going to change? But I wait with hope and anticipation that we will come
Mhm.
out of this season and start to march
Mhm.
into another season. And I was
Mhm.
thinking about even parenting.
Mm,
Um, we
mm,
go through different seasons.
absolutely.
There's these reels that I don't know if you've seen them on Instagram, and they're doing this where how did I go from this, and they show a video of their child when they were little, or either a baby or a little to now they're grown, and it's like what happened, and it's like in a flash, in a season you're looking like, where is my child? And now you have to learn how to
Absolutely.
navigate an adult
Mm,
child. And now
mhm,
it's like, oh, this is a different season. I have to come a different
mhm,
way. This is a whole grown
mhm,
adult. So
mhm.
we have to navigate parenting. We have to navigate
Absolutely.
our finances when
Yes.
our finances, hello, are in a challenging and difficult space. How do we
Absolutely.
maneuver in those
Yes.
seasons? So seasons, man, they are tough.
Absolutely.
They are tough.
Yes.
They're tough literally from weather and all that standpoint, but even
Absolutely.
from a personal
Mhm,
standpoint. And depending on where you are,
mhm,
although my best friend in Florida, they don't really experience harsh winters. I was so shocked
mhm.
to find out they don't even put heat in their homes. It's not even an option. So if it gets cold down where they are, they're down at the bottom of Florida. If it gets cold, there's like this big burst for space heaters, and they're trying to get them shipped in from all over the place because they don't even put heat in their homes.
Wow.
But they deal with hurricanes. So they
Yeah.
go through a hurricane season, and then
Mhm.
they have to put
I
shutters
experienced
up.
that.
Oh my
Mhm,
gosh. And they have to put the windows, certain windows in, and
mhm,
shutters. And I remember
mhm.
one time they had to travel all the way to Indiana to get away
Mm, mm,
from a terrible storm that was hitting. And so although it's like, yes, they have palm trees and it's warm. They go through hurricane season. So I'm saying
Wow.
to say we all go through seasons. The rain
Yes, we
falls
do.
on the just
Mhm.
and the unjust. What you think about that?
Absolutely. And I think if we want to be, I'm reminded of the ant.
Mm.
That's why we begin to store up things so that
Mm.
as we navigate, different seasons in our lives, we're not always going to be on a high. We go through valleys, we go through peaks, but if we know who we are, we become confident in who we are. If we begin to know how to build and encourage ourselves, David says sometimes we have to encourage ourselves. And as a matter of fact, as you're saying this, was at a service and he talked about storms and he used the word ship. And he
Mm.
was saying that S is for storms, I was SH, S is for storms, H is for have, I is for it's, and P is for purpose. So no
Mm.
matter what season you find yourself in, it does have a purpose. So again, as we build ourselves up, so when I'm on the high, it has a purpose. When I'm in the valley, it has a purpose. When it's going my way, it has a purpose. When it's not going my way, it has a purpose. And I believe that as long as we remember that, and the
Mm.
people that we keep around us to help remind us that and help encourage us, when we're going through those different seasons. And sometimes, when people are dealing with things, and sometimes we always want to have a word or something to say, but sometimes people just want to listen and hear. Sometimes
Mm.
they don't want you to say anything. They want you to just sit and listen to what they have to say. And I find that a lot when people are dealing with loss. Sometimes you're just trying to find all these words to say, and sometimes just sitting there with that person, just letting them know that your presence sometimes can speak volumes or whatever. What do you think?
That's good. I think that's really good. And you were talking about putting out content and things like that. And I remember us talking about that. And even in that, I go through a season where I'm like, is it doing anything? Even when we put these things out, I'm like, is anybody going to really listen? Are they going to watch? And when you're in your season of and you have taught me consistency, and I'm going to get better, I promise. I'm serious. I'm coming out of that season of not being consistent with even putting out content. But I have to ask you, when you're doing that, and if it doesn't go off the way you think it's going to go, how do you navigate that season when you feel like I'm doing all the things, but nothing's coming from it? How do you keep going and not quit in the season when it's not going the way you thought it was going to go?
That's really a good question. But I believe because this is what I'm supposed to do, I believe I'm called to touch women and help women navigate the various seasons of life, that I believe that if I just keep doing it, we talked about this, I believe if I just keep doing it, and eventually God is going to blow on it. And when
Mm.
it's the right time, and sometimes I have to remind myself of it, because you're absolutely right. Some days I'm like, oh boy. Some days I don't even feel like putting out content,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But what I also learned to do is I try not to do it in my strength. So I try allow the Holy Spirit to tell me and speak to me. So whatever he puts on my heart to say, then that's when I put out content. I try not to do it in my own strength, because if it's up to me, but, and then I try to keep my ear to where people are and
mm-hmm,
try to have conversations with people to assess where they are. Because to be honest, it's not so much about what I think the person needs, it's what they need, and
mm-hmm,
being able to speak to that. And I believe as long as we're relevant
mm-hmm,
and we're speaking to things that people want to hear, and
mm-hmm.
things that are going to build and edify and change lives, then you're always going to be relevant.
Wow, that's so good. What about what about seasons of relationships and friendships? Because I think sometimes I think we talked about this and what about your friends? We were saying they may be in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, but
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think sometimes we don't realize that some people are in our life for a season.
That's so
Um,
true.
and what happens is we overstay that time, and then it leads to frustration. disappointment, confusion, anger, sadness. It could lead to
Yes,
so many different emotions and feelings. And then
absolutely.
you get frustrated with yourself because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So
Mhm.
I think it's important that we talk about seasons and
Yes,
how to navigate when a season is
yes,
up in a relationship or a
yes,
friendship. And
yes,
what it does if you don't,
yes.
like, it's like, okay, yeah, this is what happens if you stay. But
Mhm.
what happens if if you don't leave? You know,
Mhm.
you are really missing out on some connections and some people and the right people and the right thing that God's trying to get to you because you won't let go of the wrong
Absolutely.
thing that they're not wrong in a bad way, but the season
Right,
is just up.
right.
And it could be where they're saying the season is up to you and you're on the other side. So
Mm.
what you think about, just navigating friendships and relationships, and when a season has run its course, what do we do? Like, how do we handle that? How do we navigate those
Mm.
situations when those seasons are up?
And that's really, really good. And as you're talking, the word that comes to mind is being self-aware.
Mm,
Being aware when those things, when the times change, when the seasons change, being aware of that. And then after you're aware, then being open to make those necessary adjustments. That word you used before, making those necessary pivots, being
pivot.
aware. So I think being self-aware is really, really important when you're talking about navigating various seasons in our lives.
Yeah,
I think your circle is also extremely important. So you have your mentors, people that you have that can help walk you through those
hmm
times and let you know it's okay to shift that season.
yeah, that's so
I
interesting.
feel your head, your wheels are
Yeah,
spinning.
because I'm thinking about the couples that I
Mm,
work with and
mm,
how sometimes they will say to me in the beginning, will you let us know if it's not going to work? And I'm like, that's not for me to tell you. But
mhm.
I sit there and I'm like, sometimes, the season is up, but it's not for me to tell them their season is up.
Absolutely.
It's for
Absolutely.
them to do that. And I
Absolutely.
think more times than not, we know when our season is up.
Mhm,
We don't like change, and we like to be
mhm,
comfortable and to stay in our comfort zone. And so if
mhm.
it's anything that's going to take us out of that comfort zone, we will rather, and I have a friend who says this all the time, I'd rather be with somebody I don't really care, be with than to be by myself. And we process through that a lot. And I say, I get it because I'm not one that likes to be by myself. And I think people that are with people may not understand people that are not. When they say that, they look at them like, that's crazy. Why you could do bad all by yourself, but you have somebody. So when the person that doesn't have anybody is saying, I'll just stick with this one, at least I know I got something, and
Yes.
until something else comes. And then my charge is something else going to come if you're still sticking with this one? And so if you know this season is up, and I'm talking to myself and everybody else,
Mhm,
then
mhm.
why do you think God's going to bring something else if you're
Absolutely.
not letting go of the thing that you know, and you know that you
Absolutely.
know,
That's right.
you verbally said it. And so
Mhm,
some of my couples, when I work with them, I could tell right away, like, oh, they just need some small tweaks for giant
mhm,
peaks, small tweaks, and they're going to be okay. There's other
mhm.
couples that I'm like, Jesus, man. And then there's other couples that I almost know going in, it's not probably going to do. God can do miracles. I'm
Right.
not look away from that, but
Mm,
I can kind of tell this is an unhealthy, it's not
mm.
a good situation. But they have to determine that the season
Absolutely.
is up. And
Absolutely.
does that ever frustrate you at all when you see people doing things that you know is like, that season's up, sis, that season's up, bro, like, what are you doing? And if you see that in a family member or a friend, how do you navigate that process? Do you say something? What do you say? How do you say it? Tell us how you do that. I'm
Wow. And
curious.
I think depends on the level of relationship I have with the individual.
Very
You know,
true.
if I feel like certain areas you have to earn the right to go to with people. You
Mhm,
know, you
mhm,
just can't do that with anybody. But I
mhm,
feel like if I have earned the right to do that,
mhm.
then I would have that conversation with them or even ask the questions that even to cause them to begin to think. Because as you said, at the end of the day, it's our decision. You know, you can't certain decisions, most decisions you can't make for
Right.
anybody. We have to be the ones who decide. So it would be, definitely asking those type of questions that will make them think and kind of come to that realization on their own. And if none of that works, then I have to just respect where they are, keep them in prayer, and just pray that, that they're covered, protected, pray that, at some point there will be an awakening within them to be able to see, because sometimes people have, are in places and it's just hard for them to see. You can be talking to somebody and that they need help, and they'll tell you, I'm fine. I don't need any help. I'm okay. Everything's okay. I'm fine. As Mary J. Blige say, I'm fine, fine, fine.
I'm doing just
You
fine.
just work it out. But so when you're in those situations, you have to just respect where that person is, and prayer is powerful. And I believe that just keep them in prayer, that those scales will be removed. Just think about ourselves when we've been in situations and somebody tried to tell us that's not a good path, maybe you should do it, but you got it in your head. Yes, it is. And you just keep trucking along or whatever. And this life has a way of getting you to a point where you realize that even though it might be painful, and sometimes people have to go through certain situations in order for them to see. And sometimes we're trying to be God in people's lives. You just have to, cover them. We don't know the path. We don't know what it takes to get them to where they need to be and where, God desires them to be. And you see some people have gone down some really rough paths, but at the end of the day, some of them are your most powerful preachers. At the end of the day, some of them are impacting lives amazing, have an amazing impact on others' lives. So we don't know people's journey, and it's difficult to watch. I won't say that it's not. It's difficult to watch, but at the end of the day, if they're in your life, you have to trust God that He's going to work it out.
You made me want to, like, first of all, you made me think of check myself in a few ways. So thank you. But also to say something to the parents, and particularly parents of teenagers or adult children, and navigating difficult seasons. Sometimes we want to jump in and fix and protect. And I would always tell my son, like, that don't make sense. Like, why would you want to, if I'm telling you that this is not good, why are you going to sit there and go and do it? Why do you have to learn the hard way? And you just reminded me as well. There's times we had to learn the hard way. But wisdom says, okay, if somebody else went through it, then now I can look at them and say, okay, I don't want to deal with that. But there are people that's the way they learn. And you just said we have to release them and understand it's just a season, and that they will come out of it, and hopefully they will come out whole. And then you said praying is the best thing we could do, because we try to control. And you're helping me just to release, which is one of the things I talk about in my book for parents of adult children, is releasing. But not even just releasing with my adult child, but just releasing with the people I care about. If they're not ready to do something, I gotta let it go. That's a agitation for me, a unique agitation for me. And so I do my part to say, hey, here's what's worked for me. Here's something you might be able to do. I hear you saying da 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 problem. Here's some possible solutions. I'm very solution oriented. I get very frustrated when people come with problem, but then they don't want to hear any, they knock down and everything, every solution. But at the end of the day, what you were just saying, you were just, like I said, speaking to me, even just, Shalana, you're not in control. This is a season they have to go through. God placed you in their life, yes, so that you can impart some wisdom and some tools and, things that you learn through therapy and coaching and all of this. But at the end of the day, you have to be there to support them. And if you can't do nothing else, you can pray for them. Pray for them. So I'm learning how to navigate those seasons, even in friendships or family, when you see, this isn't good. Like, and it's not that you know best. Some things you just know is not good, right? There's some things it's like, it's an opinion. Well, it might not be good to you, but it's good to me. There's other things, it's not no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just not a right path you're going on. But even in those wrong paths, even in those wrong seasons, God has a way of getting in those seasons with you and coming into that season with you and turning that situation around. And the truth is, am I just not believing he'll turn it around? So I think I got to get in there and fix it. So that's what I was taking from when you were talking about that, y'all, just navigating seasons. We don't have control over seasons coming because we don't control the weather. We're not God. They're going to come. But we do have control over how we respond, how we react, and how we navigate through those seasons when they come. Fall is here. Like it's a saying, winter is coming, winter is coming, winter is coming. And she talked about the ant. The ant, what did it do? It stored up for the winter. So we're not shocked by the fact that it's coming. But every time it's almost like we get shocked that it's here. It's like, whoa, where did this come from? It's like, hey, boo, it's October. It happens every year. So it's coming. Now, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do when the season changes? Are you going to give up? Are you going to quit? Are you going to go into a depression? And if you feel like you are, that's okay. Seek help. If you're going into depression, you're dealing with severe anxiety, find a therapist in your area. Whatever state you're living in, find a therapist there. If you're going into a season where you feel like, I'm maybe not depressed necessarily, but I feel like God is telling me there's more, get you a coach. We keep telling y'all this, and this is so true. A coach will help you get clear on how to navigate these seasons of your life. And when you're with somebody and they're holding you accountable and you're processing things through with them, you feel like you're not in it alone, y'all. So that's all I have. I don't know. You may have more on this, but we have to learn and master navigating when the season changes. We can't control seasons changing, but we can control how we act, react, respond, and move in those seasons.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree with it. There's nothing else to be said after that. The ball is always in our court, and we have the power to make the shift. We have the power to bring about the changes. Sometimes we look to other things and people and situations, but the truth be told, it's already inside of you. And you have to be reminded of that. And that's one of the things a coach will do. They will help you discover what you already have inside of you, and they will help you create ways that you can move from where you are to where you want to be, no matter what season of life that you're in. And the other thing that I learned about season is that you can win in every season. So sometimes we're thinking, I'm in the valley, this is bad, but you can win in every season. All of them are good. None of them are bad. We think, when I'm on the mountaintop, that's good, but when I'm in the valley, that's not good. It doesn't matter what season you're in, you're winning because you're learning something. You're learning something about yourself. You're learning something about people. You're learning something about God. I mean, you're just having so many experiences, and what they do is it helps you when you move into the next season. So when you move into that next season, you're strong. There's some things that you dealt with in the winter season that when you're on that mountaintop, it's helping you to be able to navigate that and be able to be strong. Now when you were starting out and you were a supervisor and you learned some things. So when you become a CEO, you learn how to manage people. You learn how to deal with people. You know how to make decisions, and you know how to work together. You know what it means to collaborate and all of those things. But if you didn't learn it down there and when you were a supervisor, sometimes you're learning it when you're working on the front line, So each season, it's never bad. It's never, never bad. They're all good. Absolutely. And they all work together for your good.
Absolutely.
I feel like we get to be preachers. We have 2
or 3
closes.
Like, Lord Jesus, it's our third close, y'all. Pass the offering plate around. We about to take up an offering for Coach Jackie. She gonna close this out.
So I'm just excited, Shalonda, just to have this conversation. I'm thankful for the gems and the jewels that you share. And we talk about iron sharpening iron. So as we're having these conversations, we're learning from each other. She say something and it stretches me. I might say something and it stretches her. That's what you want in your life. You want somebody that's going to help you stretch and grow and be the best version of yourself that you can be. So guys, this ends another amazing unscripted conversation and moments. As always, we hope that it's added value to your life. We hope that you were able to take away some things that will improve and, help you have a better quality of life. So until next time, continue to grow, continue to discover, and be the best version of yourself that you can be. Take care.
It's winning season.
There you go.